Hi, welcome to part 3 of Raiders of the Lost Ark. At the end of the last scenario, the Imperial Guard well and truly held the airlock to the Ironsmith's great Ark ship. And they found this guy within there, basically kept in a cryo thing, with some strange markings that they couldn't find. So they kind of revived him. He was woke up under a lot of guard, because they didn't know whether to trust him or not. And basically, the guy identifies himself as a Dr. Magnus. And he's got a bit of a grudge against the Ironsmiths. He basically reckons he's been their prisoner for several hundred years. And turns out he owns one of these, which is a kind of giant robot. We're going to use it as an Imperial Knight today. And he's basically gunning for revenge. Now, the Imperial Guard feel kind of inclined to trust him for some reason. They see, yeah, he knows his way around the ship, and he's got quite a bit of a big robot that can help them. They've kind of gone over it. A couple of their tech people have kind of planted a few melter bombs secretly, because if this guy does try anything funny, yeah, gonna blow him up to smithereens, yeah. But he seems to know the layout. And next part of the starship is basically this bit. It's the greenfield section. This is their agricultural section, and this is where they're supposed to be basically growing their food, and also helps with their life support as well. However, because as you remember, they had that orc infestation, the orcs are basically burrowed into the ground, and there's these huge holes throughout the area. Now, over here is where our assembled Ironsmiths are, and they've kind of come out of cryo freeze after several hundred years, because remember, this whole section has been in a giant warp storm that's isolated them, and they found their space station is basically filled with orcs, and there's basically Imperial Guard quite aggressively knocking on the door, and they're pissed, basically. Meanwhile, we're collecting, basically the Imperial Guard are collecting and basically trying to seize this, what's essentially a space station forge world. So, we've just deployed. This is my side. A few notes. First of all, it's the new Space Marine Codex has come out, and we are using it for this game. Haven't done on previous ones. Oh, that should be there. As was taught, this is a Space Dwarf unit, but we're using the Salamander rules, so these are kind of substitute models. We have 3 Thunderfire cannons here. We're using this and this as land speeders. We've got a Predator with a last cannon back there. Take a zoom in. Isn't that awesome? Shermanator. We've got 2 Devastator squads. They're armed there. And they've got a Tech Marine with them. We've got a squad of 3 Storm Talons. We have, that is being used as the Land Raider Redeemer, and it's got some Terminators in. That is a Hellhammer escalation level tank, which has got some nice Demolisher-like things. This is our first chance of using kind of super heavies. So that's a super heavy tank, and Cameron's going to have like an Iron Knight on its side, which will be interesting. And then we've got 3 dreadnoughts there. Over on the opposition side, we have the Red Blobs. We've got this being used as an Imperial Knight. What have we got here?
Squadron of Lumen Russes, 2 standard Russes, and then a separate one for the Demolisher. We got a big blob squad with plasma guns, flamers, commissar, and a Primus Psycho.
I'm actually hoping to use the Demolisher cannons on that to basically take all those guys out, if I can.
2 infantry squads with autocannons, las cannon team, Hydra.
Hail Hydra. ahead, Hydra.
Missile launchers with Skyfire rockets. Another Rusk squadron with Pask.
Oh, you're swine. Why didn't I think to take... I could have taken that upgrade. And of course the Sentinels. Just behind in reserve, partly because we just dropped it, is a what's that? Vendetta.
And Pask is a HQ.
I have the first go unless he rolls a 6. Stealing the initiative, and it's a fail. Throughout the game, we've got several units of orcs that will come in at the end. Might come in at the end of the turn. Each crater has got a number: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they will come out and basically attack whatever's closest to them, and they can actually assault in their first turn if they want to. So that's adding a bit more of a complication. Well, that escalated quickly. There's been lots of killy, isn't there?
Yep.
My Land Raider's in flames. The guys that came out of it got hit by this thing, and they're gone. There's how many? My escalation unit, basically, the Hellhammer pretty much fired at a squad that was right in the centre of the frame. You can't see them now because they're pretty much dead. How many guys were in there?
40.
40 guys completely gone.
41.
We've got a land speeder in flames. All my Thunderfire cannons are gone. Over there, 2 killer cannons made the huge mistake of trying to attack some dreadnoughts. They take one down a wound, but kind of the sheer number of dreadnoughts attacks against them didn't do much. Meanwhile, over there, a Death Dread popped up and caused quite a bit of chaos behind the lines. Destroying, was it an autocannon unit?
Yeah, platoon command squad.
Yeah. So that was that turn. Quite a lot of death. We fired lots of shots at these 2 units, you know, the super heavy tank and the Imperial Knight. Pretty much we've done nothing, haven't we? Pretty much. Okay. Round 2 to come. Okay, for what has been our heaviest point game, this has also been our quickest game as well. At the end of round 2, the winner's quite decisive. Cameron has actually won. Well done, guy. You cannot at least smile when you've kind of...
That was a boring game.
It was... I kind of enjoyed it, but kind of not interested on repeating it. Like I say, it was our first time with using kind of... Yeah, escalation, super heavy... One super heavy tank, one super heavy walker. Basically what happened is... They
just brawled it out.
They brawled it out. That shot at that, a lot of times, took it down by a hell of a lot of hull points. It moved into it and it pretty much smashed it. Now, neither of them died at this point, yeah? But with it so wounded, pretty much every one of my units fired at it.
And of course he's got melters and everything.
Loads of melters, and that took it down.
Yep.
But seeing as now my super heavy tank was down to 2 hull points, pretty much every tank we had that Cameron had fired at it and it took it down. And like I said, this was our first time with super heavy, and it was kind of interesting. It was exciting. Up front it seemed quite exciting because yay, big units, but because you can't really damage them, but they can damage you a lot, they're really kind of annoying. And then at the point where they've got down to a few hull points, you just fire everything at them. And once they went, it's like everything else collapsed pretty much, isn't it? Once they were down, pretty much he could fire on the rest of my units and pretty much did a good job of cleaning out. The flyers were gone. You could just see a crater of destruction in there. He took out one of my dreadnoughts over there and wounded another one. Over here we've got another Death Dread popped out to kind of rear its ugly head. but this has been quite a decisive victory again. And and I thought I was bringing quite a competitive and nasty army here with a lot of real heat firepower, but they haven't really done that much at all, and just completely got wiped out, which has been very surprising. I mean, we could have continued. There were some units, but this is only going to go one way from now. So once more, the Imperial Guard have control the next section, and then moving it into the habitation sections next. Overall thoughts? Not impressed really by Imperial Guard, are you?
Nope.
What do you think the problem is?
They're all just suck now, pretty much.
No, Imperial Knights, I mean.
Oh,
Imperial Knights. First time playing Imperial Knights.
Yeah, it was an okay unit. It killed a lot of stuff, but then once it died, it was like...
A lot of points gone as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
No, it just felt pretty boring, because it was just like, look, that one unit killed 3 units in this one turn, pretty much. Yes,
it gets up. It is pretty powerful, but
it's like, what's the rest of my army doing?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they're very popular. They're a very popular unit. We saw a lot of them at the last convention tournament that we were at. But they take. It feels like they take something away from the game, don't they? Because the way that you have to, they become such a focus. And yes, that thing is nicely glued together, thankfully.
After you dropped it.
I didn't drop it, you dropped it.
You dropped it. When you decided, pass me my drink. I passed you your drink, and what did you do? You just threw my model off the table.
Yeah, thank goodness. It's actually something we saw a lot at the tournament we were at the other month. A lot of people carrying super glue. It's a good thing to carry with you because we put this to one side, we glued it, and within about 10 minutes, it was perfectly workable. And the only thing is, I've put the bit that you stick it in with backwards, which is why he's having trouble kind of mounting it at the minute. The balance is slightly wrong.
It doesn't. It still works that way, so you might not have to cut it out.
Cool. Right, yeah. Well,
my Psyker did nothing. I was disappointed.
Yeah, that was a bit of a disappointing unit. I took some Psykers. I took a Psyker, you took a Psyker. My Psyker died in turn 1 as soon as his transport was blown up, and yours was pretty much
pathetic and did nothing.
Yeah.
He survived, but he did nothing.
We had some great powers to use, but yeah, not much to do. And interesting. An interesting game to play, but ironically having built that super heavy tank and the Iron Knight, it wasn't that exciting. I was kind of gunned up for we've got some really tough heavy things here. This is going to be really exciting. I found them actually really, really boring.
Yep.
Really boring. I think actually I'd much rather have brought more tanks, actually, to fight your more tanks, yeah? And, and just basically fight out a kind of war of attrition on tanks. There isn't really a way of playing a war of attrition with the super heavies. They kind of, you can damage them slowly, but they don't lose their effectiveness, and then they're gone completely, and then everything falls apart. Anyway, so that was us on Game 3.
So at the end of that game, we decided to basically call it and declare it an Imperial Guard win for the campaign. So the poor old Ironsmiths have been kicked off their own space station and are scattering into the corners of the universe. But we'll be seeing them soon. In fact, we'll see them next campaign, where we're going to try something a bit different and a bit exciting. So do please stay tuned and follow next week.